let's have a chat about emotions in conflict. They're often the hardest thing to discuss, especially for new mediators. But here's the thing, emotions are what drive conflict, right? Most of the time, the reason we have conflict is because of unmanaged emotions. So, as mediators, we're often trained to engage with the emotions. And I can tell you the pattern of most mediations, right? Individuals come to a mediation, they're often quite reserved. I wouldn't say calm, but outwardly they're trying to be calm, rational, and avoid talking about their own emotions. But as the conversation starts happening and we go back over things that have happened in the past, it's inevitable that those emotions are going to come out, right? And I found that emotions are crucial to understanding what's really happening for someone and what's actually important to them to be able to move forward. Now, the temptation is to obviously turn around and ask someone, so how do you feel about that? But no one likes feeling like they're in a therapy session, right? Especially in a workplace mediation or a conciliation or a litigation matter. So I prefer to ask this question: what's the impact of that on you? Now, this simple question often sort of requires a response that addresses someone's emotions. Now, almost every time I turn around and ask someone, so you've just heard Bob explain why he made that decision at work. What was the impact of that decision on you? And inevitably that person will turn around and talk about their feelings, their values, and I can uncover a far more deeper and meaningful conversation in that way. So in a recent mediation I did, one of the participants described the situation as frustrating, and they mentioned feeling disrespected. So I often picked up those words and said, I heard some of the things you said before about feeling frustrated and disrespected. Can you tell us a bit more about that? So that was me finding the language they had already used that sort of referred to the emotions they were feeling and inviting them to explain that further. Again, avoiding the sentence, how do you feel? But still inviting them to explain the importance of emotions, right? So here's a really important lesson I've learnt the hard way, which is that asking directly about feelings can feel a bit exposing. It can feel uncomfortable. People might look at me like none of your business. But asking about impact opens the door to a conversation about emotions in a way that feels safe, constructive, professional. So here are some techniques that I use to draw out and address the emotions in conflict. So firstly, open body language. I'm actively listening, repeating what I'm hearing, and open to hearing and non-judgmental listening in particular, whatever someone has to say. The second thing is I clarify vague language. So if someone says the word frustrating or insufferable, I actually ask them to step me through what they mean by that, right? And finally, I normalize emotions and feelings as part of the conflict resolution and problem solving process. Okay, so it's not something we pack away and leave at the door. It's not something we should suppress. Okay, I am very, very careful to ensure I validate, acknowledge what the person is going through. I don't make assumptions. I show curiosity around that, but I acknowledge that it is okay, it is human, and it is important to show and explain the emotions you're feeling. And these are the techniques that I sort of fall on to build trust, keep the conversation moving forward, and come up with resolutions that are actually lasting. In the comments below is my blog on this topic, and I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on this one too.